All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Oregairu, Season 2, Episode 2. 2-2. And these two, well, whichever two you're talking about, but
Pairs of two.
There are definitely pairs of two, no hands of blue.
Because they're avoiding you.
But yeah. Ebina and our good friend, I forget his name. Yes.
Tobichi.
Yes, that's right. Is there any hope for them? Who knows? Is there any hope for Yui and Hachiman? I would like to think so, but
more
the odds
than
are...
there is for Tobichi and, and Hina.
I would say Hina and Zamakuza have better odds. But
you're coming to accept the reality now.
yes, they are. They are both the fan fiction, basically. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
I know we don't know which pair you're talking about now.
Right. But then there's also the whole thing that happened with Hachiman and Yukino when Hiratsuka very cleverly set them up to, hang out after with the excuse of I need booze to drink away my sorrows.
You could practically feel her JoJo posing in her mind. She's like, I'm awesome.
Yeah. I'm awesome.
Matchmaker.
I'm awesome. Matchmaker.
Forever alone.
And forever alone.
yeah, exactly.
Yep. But we also got a new art style last episode, which was wonderful.
Well, we're apparently in the studio that did Hina Matsuri.
Yeah.
I know that, but that's so freaking
multicolored character outlines. Here we go. Or just non-traditional black outlines. Yeah, it's great.
It looks really good. It makes the whole style pop out a lot more.
Yep.
The lighting is really sweet. It's
and
really
the extra character animation is very much appreciated.
Yes.
Yeah.
It feels very good. With this situation though, where we've got basically a Yui that is a little bit more forward, a little bit more assertive, as confident. She promised that she would to herself, really, in season 1 at the end there. But then also the awkward dynamic between Yukino and Hachiman right now as they're kind of navigating the space post season 1. It could be kind of interesting. And I would like to see in a lot of ways Yui to continue to be the one that kind of pushes things, not necessarily in just the romantic direction,
but just
as
makes
far
things
as
happen.
Leading the
the hammer to the scene. Yeah,
exactly. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion.
Well, okay.
All right.
Phenomenal
episode.
That was excellent. I really love the new style, basically, that the season is taking. I'm not talking about like the art style and things like that.
No,
but
I got you. Yeah.
The way that the indirectness of the characters and things like that to navigate the sensitive topics that they're dealing with is handled, because and it is something that is challenging to me, because this is definitely, I feel like it's a lot more complicated.
It's a lot more moving parts.
Harder to keep up with.
Dramatically proclaimed what they are from the get-go. So an example of this basically is that this is a typical, we went to the service club, asked for help with a specific thing, but there are two people asking for help with things that conflict with each other.
Exactly.
And this is based on info that is of things in previous seasons. However, the characters that we're focusing on, ones that got zero character depth focus in season 1. Therefore, it's how all the other characters around them react, interact based on this new kind of impetus, this new movement that's happening in the pond.
Right.
And the main character that kind of gets to, in some ways, be free of it all is actually Yukino here. Sure. Yukino kind of gets to go, I don't care about any of these people. So
I'm not in class with them. Yeah.
Right. This is not really my thing. This is your guys' clique group that's experiencing drama.
And she wouldn't have been friends with them really anyways.
Right. Yeah. Tobichi? No.
Yeah.
Hina? Yikes. In some ways, I really like that for the sake of efficiency, Yukino kind of took a back seat this episode.
Yeah.
Because the stuff they did with the other characters. Oh my God.
That was very involved, shall we say.
It was.
And I gotta say, like, my personal favorite aspect of this episode was the parallels with Hina and Hachiman.
Yeah.
And I feel like
That's why they ended the episode with it.
Yep.
It was one of the biggest parts of it.
Exactly.
In general, yeah.
And I feel like any time in a story that you take the main character and you have them look in a mirror, right?
Right.
You can have some amazing things happen. Especially when you have a main character that's as internally conflicted as Hachiman, right? Because this entire story is about Hachiman's growth, right? It's about how he deals with the
snafu that he's in right
exactly,
now.
the snafu that he's in and that he helps create, right? Because of his past and things like that and where he's at emotionally and whatnot and what he's willing to experience, right?
Yeah.
So, as a result, you have a dichotomy here where, one person is in love with another person. They need to figure out how to tell them. Oh, yeah, and of course, when that's brought up in the previous episode, Yui's like, hell yes, let's do this, right? But then the other person is like, I kind of like the status quo. I haven't had anything like this in a long time, and I really don't want it to change. Can you please sabotage it? Oh, Hachiman doesn't have any experience with that.
I love that we didn't get that directly told to us as well. That it wasn't a please sabotage it. It was a, hey, can all the guys get along and have some sweet BL stuff?
Right.
I'm counting on you, Hachiman. You.
Yep.
Because I know you.
Because I know you get results. Yeah. In your own very particular way and whatnot, right? And the idea that Hayama and Yumiko were also kind of like not wanting anything to change too. That's
and there's there's a very clear like linear path as to why they want it to stay the same. Well, Tabechi is the one causing a little bit of chaos right now.
Right.
He's having his wild hormones acting up and stuff like that. Well, Hina wants things to stay the same because she thinks of herself as someone that's not capable of being in a relationship, and thus it would cause chaos and pain and all this other stuff. Well, Hayato, he's like in a very unique situation, which we'll get into in a second, where he's like, no, I want to help my friend, but I also realize that if this spirals out of control, their division as friends, as Hachiman would probably more call it, could spiral out into the situation with him and Yumiko to where they might not even have as much reason to spend time together. And then that little high school clique that we love to rag on in season 1, they might just fall apart.
Right, and it's precious to them, but it's also something where they, like when Hayama, it's all they've got, and as a result, they're selfish with it, right?
Sure.
Because yes, while Hayama is sparing Tobei some pain, right, in that he doesn't get shot down,
right?
Maybe Tobei was okay with getting shot down.
Who knows?
Like maybe he wanted to say it to make sure that he had said it, right? And then
we'll never know now.
Take whatever happens as a result of that, right?
Yep.
But he won't get to, right? And he might not even, and he's not exactly like the sharpest tool in the shed, right? He might not even realize entirely, like he kind of clued in, like, oh, okay, Hachiman, yeah, you were a real bro there, but why Hachiman did what he did, because he was kind of guilted into it, but yeah.
What I love how much about this, like this whole thing goes about here, is you can see when Hachiman figures it out, because at the initial bit, what we got is that he took basically everything Hina said, I'd say at pretty much face value. And it's just like, oh, well, we can just forget about that.
He's like, I've never really understood this girl in the first place, I feel like, so okay.
Right. But over the course of the episode, we see him making little, like, noticings of Hayato, in that he is not acting like himself.
Nope.
And it is something that Hachiman, being the observant one, having taken that feat for personal, emotional trauma reasons, he very much notices this guy's not acting like himself. This guy has a very particular blend of charisma, of sociability, of something that I can't stand. What is he doing? What is he doing? What I love so much here was that Hachiman was one of the... he sought out very few conversations in this episode.
Yes.
But the ones that he sought out specifically, where he was like he unintentionally bumped into Yukino at the point with the rocks and stuff like that. That wasn't something he sought out specifically.
Yep.
But the time when he went to go see Hayato by the river, the little brook there.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That was a very specific, like, yo,
we need to talk.
we need to talk. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that it happened as a result of his chance encounter. Well, not chance encounter. Well, chance encounter with Yumiko, where she basically, brings the whole situation up and is like, "Hey, stop ruining this," right? But then Hachiman's like, "Hold on, I feel like you're not the only person that's
why do you care so much about this?
Yeah, why do you care so much about this, right?
Right.
Oh, well, Hayama said he'd take care of it. Oh, if he said he'd take care of it, then that's fine.
Bingo.
He's got his hands in this. Okay. As suspected,
Yep.
All right.
He is the leader after all of the whole thing.
Yep.
And in some ways, he might have been testing to see if she was really the leader of the thing, trying to maintain the status quo, and that there's a possibility
she is the queen bee and all that stuff.
Right, but that Hayama, if he was involved, he would be doing it more for her sake rather than for his in a selfish way. But I don't think Hachiman is the kind of person who would assume anyone is capable of true selflessness. So he'd think about this and go, wait, no.
Yeah.
You don't gain enough from this. Do you gain something because you like Hayato, and he wants it. Oh, he does. Oh, and you. Oh, I got it. I got it. Big brain Hachiman. Yeah.
Like because Hayama, he's got so much social savvy that I absolutely believe that he is someone that's way more influenced by his environment.
Yes.
With Yumiko, I feel like she's selfish, like overtly selfish enough that she actually doesn't pay as close attention to her environment, right? She's not as affected by it because she's the queen bee, right? She's in her own world kind of, and she's dependent on it to some degree, but she usually is pretty good at getting what she wants, right? So she strong arms the environment into suiting her needs, right? Rather than being sort of that like surfer kind of.
Right.
So why is she invested? Oh, well, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Because the one person that she can't strong arm is invested.
Right. I love how much Hachiman then kind of having clued in a little bit as to what's going on, then has a little awkward kind of not knowing it's a fully two-way understood conversation bit here that leads in perfectly to the end of the episode where they have a fully overt conversation about things, because she kind of goes, how's it going amongst the men? Is everything going in the way that is so I can see it all? Nothing can surprise me. Everything's in plain view. I think that was her kind of saying like, Hachiman, I can know speak what's subtle. I can speak under the radar too, just like you can.
Well, you and I are maybe
a little bit more alike.
A little bit more alike than you realize. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have some little cute moments of sharing food and stuff, and it's wholesome and stuff, and maybe we see a little bit more of Hachiman just kind of like this is like okay, nice. Like,
right, exactly.
I don't hate this,
Yeah. Some of that status quo.
Yep, the thing that he maybe doesn't know how much he has it.
Well,
now.
or he hasn't admitted to himself just how much he wants it to stay the way things are right now.
And because that's the part that's going to be so good. Because it's changing. Right. He's maybe
it's
aware
changing,
of it or not. We don't know fully yet.
And even his acts to try and keep things the way they are. Sorry, you actually can't do that because you're in it, right? You were able to do that for Hina and Tobe because Tobe isn't the brightest dude out there, but also because you're not in their situation. You're not part of their clique, right? That's why everyone had to go through you, right? Because if Hayama
did not want to.
Even though they did not want to, because if they did it directly, right, then it would be a lot more obvious and it would change things.
It would.
In this situation here,
they all get to kind of pretend.
And with you, Hachiman, sorry, you don't get to. You do your thing there. Yeah, you make your fake confession, and it's great for them. But what about Yui?
What about you? And
yeah. Like, and I love that when she ended up confronting him there, and I'm thinking, oh God, no, is she going to confess? No, Yui, don't do it.
Before we get into that, can we do the Hayato conversation
yes,
here?
Yes. Yeah, let's go through linearly.
He kind of clued in like really hard here.
When he comes in, he's sort of like nagging Tobe.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I thought I'd tell you to break a leg, but I lost confidence once I got to look at you. And Hachiman's like, okay, what do you mean you lost confidence, man?
You never say stuff like that.
Yeah, this is just not you. And then he goes and finds him, of course, alone. And the way he kind of like addresses him first of like you're being awfully uncooperative, you know? And it's just like, wait, isn't that my line, you know? Like,
right.
Like, that feels like the kind of thing that he would throw his way, but it's like, you know, it even felt like you were getting in the way. Yeah. And
oh man,
this conversation is so good. Thinking about the fact that these two had that really intense moment in season 1's finale,
and that line that he says, "Once you lose something, it's gone forever." Like, oh man,
yeah, like almost the fact that he's looking out at the river here, seeing time go by, and thinking, "I've already lost it. I'm just in denial right now.
Sure,
it's going to happen eventually, and all this stuff I'm doing here is just trying to hold on." Or just trying to slow it down.
Well, and he's already lost the friendship that he thought he had with Hachiman.
Or that he could have had.
Right, yes.
I feel like the part with Hachiman is that Hachiman is this character that he feels like maybe he should hate. Like again,
that Hayama thinks that?
Yeah, like on some level, it's just
okay.
Remember the thing of Yukino kind of saying like, "I hate your methods," basically.
Yeah,
but she didn't say "but" after that. I think that's the difference between her and Hayama.
Okay,
is that Hayama is more like, I detest that I'm asking you for help, but I really do appreciate and like I really do need the help that you can bring here.
Right. And I know you'll pull through and, you know, all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. But the difference between that and being actually friends where Yukino is going to actually, you know, banter and stuff with him about how he's the worst and stuff like that.
Yep.
I think Hayama just kind of wishes at the very least that like things could have been like a little bit different from like earlier points.
Exactly, because they have different definitions of friendship, right?
Exactly.
And Hachiman, because he so detests the archetype that Hayama is, he was never really willing to have it go there, right?
He won't get on the friendship boat.
Especially since, you know, for Hachiman, it's like, oh, friends 1 to 3 is sufficient, you know, like that's all I need, right?
Yeah.
And that's it, right?
Yeah. So I've got Yui, Yukino, and
Zamakuza.
Sai.
Yeah.
Who's Zamakuza? What?
No, I don't acknowledge.
Yeah. He's we're not actually friends. You know, like he was.
Yeah.
That was from when I was like 9 years old. Dude,
right,
we were doing that until you were like 14.
Yukino, Yui, and does my sister count?
Like, anyone but Zamakuza. Yeah. Who else do I know?
But oh man, it hurts.
Yeah, the pain here of just realizing that yes, his friendships are shallow. He never knows what might happen, and yet, it can't go that long before he ends up kind of throwing his back in Hachiman's face.
It's something where I feel like Hachiman has always seen it as being something where, hey, you get friends so easily that one, I think they're shallow and they kind of are, but two, I don't think you properly appreciate them. You know,
Hachiman's thinking that.
Not like right now, but I think that's maybe a general tone that he's taken with Hayama. Like,
in what way do you mean?
In just part of his general like not what's the right word for when you think low of someone. Like
condescension?
Yeah. That was a word that I thought of, but it doesn't quite feel right. But basically, his general negative view of Hayama because of how he's sort of this reminder of what he hates. You know?
Yeah, he's a winner in the social dynamics.
Exactly.
Squad.
Right. That that I feel like that was one of the reasons why he rejected so much the idea of being friends with Hayama, even though Hayama was actually earnestly being like, no, I know that you wouldn't just be a groupie, but I feel like we could actually be like good friends, right?
Yep.
But because Hayama is basically like, he's stiff-arming him. He was stiff-arming him, I feel like, because it was some of the similar things to the situation with Yui, right, where it's the no.
You mean Hachiman is stiff-arming him?
Right. Not so much anymore, because now Hayama doesn't.
Hayama was stiff-arming him.
Yeah, my bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm following now.
Right,
yeah.
but Hachiman was stiff-arming him because it's the one, I'll get hurt, right? Two, because I've been hurt in the past, I'm projecting it onto you, and now I hate you, right? Even though you haven't done anything to be uncordial or anything like that in the past. Now they're in situations.
They had that spat at the end of the season 1 finale.
No, right.
Remember,
that's yes. No, that's what it was before.
Neither of them have forgotten that.
Oh, neither of them have forgotten that. And now it's something where Hayama has basically pulled back because of that spat, and Hachiman, in some ways, I feel like is kind of like, fine, good. This is sort of what I wanted, but at the same time, it's that reminder of, wait a minute, did I actually really hurt this guy by doing that?
I don't know. I feel like that's
because I feel like it's something where Hachiman, because he's used to the one being hurt, he has very little regard and restraint with regards to the idea that he could hurt someone else.
Right, so why would he care to think about that? That's what Yui kind of confronts him on of, would you at least just think about how someone else feels? And he's just like
sure,
he doesn't think about that. I think that's just
I feel like he thought about that a bit at the end of the first season after they had the spat, but
I feel like that's more of just him falling back into hating himself, of just like, I messed up. Maybe not about how he made them all feel necessarily. Although I feel
like those are pretty closely tied in those situations.
Those are, but there's a very clear way that you can get deadlocked, where the feelings don't extend beyond your immediate self there. And I think that's the selfishness potential angle here, is that he's definitely aware of how much he can hurt someone, but as to whether or not his own thoughts and feelings and stuff like that end up extending that far beyond himself
to like truly caring about if he's hurting somebody, because he usually isn't close enough to actually care about people in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so I feel like that's where the two girls are the
different thing.
The different thing. Exactly.
Maybe it could have gone to that point, with Hayama, but it didn't.
It's never had really the full opportunity to.
Right, and in this situation, now it's something where he's faced with the fact that yes, of the few people on this planet that I wouldn't want to hurt, shit, I guess I hurt Yui here, right? And that's the whole point of confrontation,
right? Yes, exactly. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So then with Hayato being in this situation here, they end up parting on these awkward terms, and they're still really frustrated and angry with each other.
Yep.
And feelings mutual, dumbass. It's like, I don't understand what it is that Hayama's trying to protect, but I don't need to. Not knowing, damn it, why does it not show me the thing? Not knowing lets me do things nobody else can. And this is the part of where I'm like, no, he doesn't care about Hayama's feelings at this point here. It's very much a thing that he could be aware of because he's observant. But the idea of something being seen versus something being ingested in and actually brought into himself, I feel like that's where he's like, okay, cool. Now, regardless of how or why they feel about these things, I know what's important to each of them because of my observation, so I can now pressure point hit the exact thing here that will hit all the dominoes.
Okay.
They'll all get what they want.
Well, yeah.
For the most part. For the most part.
Yeah. I feel like that line there of, because I don't know what they want, I can do things no one else can. And maybe I'm just reading into it the wrong way.
Okay.
But there's a part of me that feels like he's basically saying, it almost feels penitent, because he's not knowing lets me do things that no one else can. I think the reason he's saying that is because if I did know, then it would keep me from doing it. Not because I wouldn't be able to do it, but it would keep me in a, because of who I am and my own feelings and emotions and things like that,
Okay.
I wouldn't be able to bring myself to do it if I did know how everyone truly felt.
Okay.
Right? So in this situation, he's basically saying, and for whatever reason, if he knew, say, Hayama's true feelings, he wouldn't be
Right.
able to do it. I think it's because he still doesn't like Hayama, right? Right? He really doesn't like him. And yet at the same time, Hayama is basically doing something where he's saying, I hate that I have to come to you, but I need your help. Will you do this? And maybe because of feeling guilty for how he stiff-armed Hayama in the past, he's now saying, okay, I'll do this, but because I'm not letting myself think about how you actually feel in this situation or really trying to understand your feelings, I can still let myself do it because I do still hate you. And maybe that's way too complicated, but I feel like Hachiman is a character that's never really been in touch with his feelings super well. It's more of like his feelings dictate his logic that kind of keeps him trapped in his situation.
Okay,
you know?
so can I help translate it in
Go
a way
for
that
it.
makes more sense to me? Hayama is totally in touch with his feelings, but he's not actually that good at expressing his feelings in a vocal, honest, open way. So he's very much aware of the things that he hates about himself or that he loves about himself.
Hayama or Hachiman?
Am I saying Hayama? I'm meaning Hachiman.
Yeah.
I'm meaning
okay.
Hachiman.
All right.
That's what I was basically trying to get across there, is that I feel like the isn't in touch with their feelings thing is a bit too vague, maybe.
He doesn't know how to deal with his feelings.
Yes,
really.
yes.
Yeah.
And I would say that it comes in, he doesn't express his feelings openly and honestly. He uses his observations of other people's desires, motivations, and things like that to then move things in such a way that it protects him.
Right.
Because he is aware of his feelings if things went a certain way.
Yes, and
he
he's
knows
been burned
what things,
by his feelings before.
Right. He knows what things hurt him and what things don't hurt him.
Right.
And thus, it's basically a thing of, if things hit my true feelings, my true self, my innermost guarded little egg of, who I am, then I can't actually heal from that for a long period of time. So therefore, I am basically the watchdog observing the environment and making sure that everything in the environment is good, everything is good.
Nothing gets through the hermetically sealed chamber to... Yeah.
Yes, and thus that's my reasoning as to why he doesn't care about the feelings of other people, because all of his energy is being focused on making sure that his feelings are guarded and protected. Thus, when Yui ends up confronting him at the end here, it's yes, you were able to see how all this would work and play out here, but can you just, for once, look at the feelings of other people here?
Right, and I feel like it's something where Hachiman has layers upon layers, kind of like an onion, if you want to use the whole Shrek thing, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't let anybody inside. But damn it, these two girls are right outside the hermetically sealed chamber, right? They are.
Yeah, Yui comes really close, especially.
Right, and she's poking at it, right?
She is, yeah.
And he's like, stop that, right?
Yeah.
And because they are not the top priority for him, right? Because his top priority is still himself and his own feelings and make sure that he doesn't get hurt.
Yep.
He does end up hurting them, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't turn off the defenses, right? And
Yeah. And thus, it
that
is a
still hurts him.
surprise for him when he sees how much this hurts Yui.
Right.
It is not something where he goes, guilty of it. He's, in shock, wait, I hurt you? Right,
because it's the no, but you know that it was fake, right? You know that that was fake. You know how I do things, right? I didn't actually mean any of that.
Yeah, and love. Oh my God, isn't that so cool that we got his inner thoughts here? The fact that he's oh no, damn it, I'm falling back into
the thing I hate the most.
Yep. Oh my gosh, and then Yui.
I love how she is about to let go of his coat, and then she grabs on
for a tougher bit there. Would it kill you to spare a thought for how someone feels?
Wow.
And I really feel like one of the things that's really clever about this show is that at times when it gets really close into the how does main character Kun feel about this thing, and all the characters kind of revolve around the main character and stuff, what's something that is I think rather telling about that, where it works really well here, is that every character has their own bit of brokenness. There's no character here so far that has any element of perfection, and even the one that claims to be almost perfect, the paladin in our midst, she can't help. She can't help but in some ways accidentally broadcast her own flaws because she's so bold and confident in her flaws. I totally don't relate to that at all. But with Hachiman here having these situations where he's so self-focused that maybe he doesn't realize how much help and influence he has on these people around him. It's moments like these where Yui's character, who's gone through the most transformation, I would say, of all the characters.
Hands down.
Breaks through the years, like you're saying, the hermetically sealed chamber with a, hey, would it kill you to spare a thought? Like, it's like, I am
not asking
minimum.
for much, right? Yeah, like
that's how influential it would be just for her.
This isn't some love confession thing or whatever.
Nope.
No. I'm just saying, can you care about me a little bit?
Wow. Holy shit.
Wow.
Like that.
Wow. Like it's
Yui. I have trouble calling Hachiman or anyone other than Hachiman the MVP of this episode, because Hachiman was incredible this episode. We haven't even gotten to the Hina stuff at the end. But Yui, you are like right there below Hachiman as the MVP this episode.
One of the things that I love about this is it's something where, because Hachiman, he wants to have his cake and eat it, because he got burned so bad in the past. He got comfortable in his own little bubble of being on the outside, being the loner, right? I'll be the best loner to ever loner, right?
He's proud of it. Yeah.
The thing is, he's not a loner anymore.
He's not really.
He's not.
In a lot of ways, it's weird how much everyone hangs out with him and still calls him those nicknames that have nothing to do with his name, like Hikio. And yet, they kind of actually do spend a bit of time with him.
Because,
like, wait a minute.
Hachiman wants to maintain the status quo of, having close friends.
But
Hold
also
on.
being the loner.
Being the loner.
Wait a minute.
Hachiman, these two things...
They don't work.
No. And, hey, the human heart in conflict with itself is the only thing worth writing about.
Yep.
You know?
So what thing is going to win out?
How are these things going to win out? And in this situation, the conflict was brought into the forefront, right? The paradox, the break was focused on, and stress was applied to it. And then he saw, oops, they don't support each other, right?
And he's probably just happy that he didn't actually verbally express that internal inconsistency.
And yet the fact that he still...
But it was all over his face.
And the fact that...
Yui saw it.
Right, and the fact that when it came down to those two things, he still did everything that he despised in order to keep this one old, bitter part of himself safe. And that's why I love that later, the one other conversation, I believe, this episode that was truly, instigated by Hachiman with Hina,
she definitely was invited here by him. Did you wait long?
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you're right. This was something that he very much was like, hey, meet me up on the roof of this place at
exactly.
this time.
We need to talk. Subtext, because this is eating me up inside.
Yeah.
I know that we are in similar situations, so I want to see how you justify it, because I'm having a tough time justifying it myself right now. And the way that I did justify it, the way that I held on to this the loner side of me, it's killing me, right? So maybe then by talking to you, it'll make it easier. And lo and behold, a lot of the things that she says as reasons are almost exactly what they probably are for him.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, well, shit.
Yeah, which means in some ways that Tobachi is Yui, and Yui, when she got all excited hearing about Tobachi wanting to confess, means that Hachiman might be really aware now, if he's getting a little bit of a mirror look, like you were saying, where things are at right now with him and Yui, which means that, is he going to have to do this himself? Like, put on the glove?
I'll do this myself,
Or this is the part where things can get crazy. And I almost want, because this is what they're starting the season with, like this kind of innocuous little arc about side characters, what if at the end of the second season, it's Hachiman asking, like, Hayato for help?
Wow.
Because he's like, I don't want to lose this. You know what this is like, right?
Yeah.
Please help kill Yui's, eventual confession.
I don't think that's going to happen because he's been dealing with it himself this whole time, and that's why it's caused so much pain for Yui, right?
Right. But he just had his moment where he has, in some ways, got the confession typical scene avoided because of how he hurt Yui here.
And he's done that a couple times now. He's done that a couple times, right? Yeah. And Yui keeps going. And so now I want to say something, and I want to preface this with the fact that I am definitely biased because I am a hardcore Yui supporter, right? But regardless of how this ends up, there needs who Hachiman ends with by the end of the series, right?
Yeah.
There needs to come a point where it becomes too late with Yui.
Oh, right.
Where basically she ends up realizing, Hachiman, like serious talk. This can't go on forever. You wanted things to not change, but no, they have changed. Yep. They changed a long time ago, and you just haven't been smelling the roses. You haven't been looking up and realizing that, right? Yep. Well, whether it's a positive change or a negative change, that's up for you to decide. But things have changed. As a result, I'm done. If you want to come after me, go for it.
Yeah.
But
man,
I'm done. And then that will be the point where it truly becomes Hachiman's decision, which will hopefully make for some fantastic like series finale type stuff, because it does need to be Hachiman's decision, right? Even if he ended up going along with Yui right now, I feel like it wouldn't really feel earned by Hachiman in a sense.
Well, let's
because
just use Hina's character as an example.
Right.
She says that the reason why she shouldn't be in a relationship right now is because she knows how rotten she is, basically. Which is like, oh, holy shit, okay. You're going to just go straight to that extreme. All right.
Yeah.
No, I hate myself. It's like...
yeah, and that's mature of her to be able to admit and be like, it wouldn't be good for me to be in a relationship right now.
Then she says directly after that, that, oh, well, maybe actually if I was with you.
Yeah. Like Hachiman's,
oh, stone cold.
Yeah.
Shot through the. Oh my God.
Like Hachiman's already.
She knows what she's saying.
No, I think she knows what she's saying. She's been established in this episode that it's like no, she knows how to talk the talk.
She does know how to navigate things in a very Hachiman style way by saying not what she's exactly thinking, but towards what result she's wanting.
And I'm guessing she knows what's going on with Hachiman too. The reason why he wanted to talk to her about this, it's not because of Tobei, right? It's because
he did say that he was a really nice guy.
No, yeah. But it's because he knows a Tobei right now, and he's being a Hina to the Tobei, right?
Kinda, yeah.
But in a more direct way, right?
Sure.
So yeah, she knows what's up, right? So she's calling him out when he's already been kind of like, I feel like calling myself out a bit. And this is why I want it to be Yui that Hachiman ends up with, because I know that because and I know that we just haven't been getting as much focus with Yukino recently, right? And Yukino as a character.
This episode. The previous episode, we had a really good conversation.
Okay, that is true, and I absolutely love Yukino as a character. I feel like because of the arc that Hachiman, I'm hoping will end up completing by the end of the series, that because of that, by the end, Yui will be the best fit rather than Yukino, but I'm not sure. So we'll have to see how it plays out.
Right. The way that works, I think, I think the way that works out is very much a thing of where Hachiman basically does this, like he would have to instigate the choice based on something other than her being helpful for him.
Totally.
Because I think, unfortunately, that's the way it will get framed if at all, which means it's
Yeah.
ultimately destined to fail.
Yep, absolutely.
Now,
And
that is what...
the short-haired girls in rom-com anime never get the happy endings. That's just how it works.
Okay, but serious talk, though. Tropes aside, the reason why her and Hachiman can't get together and stay together, if they do end up getting together, is because of the fact that it will be framed too much around the idea of her helping Hachiman.
Right, it won't be a balanced relationship.
And the fact that Hachiman is too focused already on himself.
Yep.
So that it's not about him being rotten. And I think that's the thing that's rather scary about the thing that Hina brought up, is that she's stating it too emphatically.
Prescriptively?
Well, no, too emphatically. She's too confident about it.
Okay.
Because I feel like she's talking to someone who she thinks is like, oh, yeah, you know what this is like, right? Because you're... I mean, I'm
like
not saying
me.
that about you. I mean, yeah, that's why in some ways I think Hina doesn't actually fully realize how potentially barbed her words
really?
are right here. Yeah, because it's actually like saying like, oh, I don't want to drag anyone down with me into my trash pit. Oh, but you're already in the trash pit, so you actually kind of fit here.
But I feel like she also does the good sort of back out of like, but we both know how to say things we don't mean. You know, like where it's like, I'm saying this, and it's mostly in jest.
I feel like that is a bit reading
much.
into things, like a bit much based on like, because like he's saying, don't even joke about it because I might fall for you if you whisper sweet nothings like that, which is his defense mechanism being just displayed there. And she's kind of shocked by like, oh, you thought I was joking. And then she's like, no, these are things I do like about you. So she's not saying it in jest. Like he says, are you saying it in jest? And she looks shocked like, wait, you thought I was kind of joking. No, I'm saying that I actually do like how you're such an open book about those kinds of things. And I like how I'm capable of doing that similar stuff as well. And I like my current self and the way things are. So she recognizes that similarity there. But I thought she was 100% serious.
With the positive stuff?
In the way that if I was to be with someone, it would be with you, thus not necessarily realizing how the words could be taken negatively.
Oh. Okay, well, personal disagreement then. Yeah.
Yeah. God, yeah. But this is the perfect episode to have Hachiman basically, like you said, look in the mirror. That's really the best way to describe the episode. Yeah.
And the reason why I love it so much is because Hachiman is such a he is okay. So I'm going to say something that feels wrong, and it doesn't fully work, but it kind of does from a certain point of view. Hachiman is a very reactionary character, and I feel like it still does kind of work in the present day.
Okay.
But it's that he's still being reactionary off of all the trauma that happened back when he was younger, right?
Okay.
From his past.
Yeah, that's a way to look at it. Sure.
So the fact that he's even looking in the mirror is actually kind of huge, right? Because the whole point, the whole way that he's been able to do well is because he doesn't really look at himself. He kind of does, with his, he's very much focused on himself. But he is very confident in himself, right? He's the one that's in the right. He's the loner and all that stuff, right? So he doesn't truly question himself, I feel like, even though he is often preoccupied with himself.
And that's the thing that he sees in Yukino that is actually really attractive to him.
Sure.
Is that she portrays the character who doesn't question themselves,
but actually does.
Well, no, I think it's because like he does question himself a little bit, but there's no way he could put on this kind of display. So Yukino must actually like down to the core like really believe herself. Like he's 99% there. Like
right.
Like,
yeah.
Like everyone has that little bit of doubt.
But even then he's not even confident enough in the in how he would do that to actually put it on display. It's just something he keeps, when he sort of has his internal thoughts and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thus then at the end we get his little monologue. And I love that this kind of fell into the structure of season 1 stuff where we're going to end every episode or a little mini story with a little bit of a monologue from him.
A little lesson kind of, yeah.
Well, right. A little bit of basically a a thought being spared. And in this case, the thought that comes out is that everyone has something that they hold dear, and something they never want to lose. That's why they pretend. These subtitles are really hard to actually like hone in on. That's why they pretend, and that's why they hide the truth. And then showing basically like, yep, that's why they lie. And this is something that I feel like has probably been the thing that screwed me up the most growing up as a kid, was the realization of why people lie. And there was a very, I would say, wrong kind of black and white viewpoint I was taught growing up, and that is that lying is always bad, basically. That lying in general is just something that, it's wrong. It's wrong to lie. And yet people lie like 20 times a day. It's the idea that there's basically a spectrum of lying. People exaggerate constantly. People use emotional inflection and all this extra stuff to really emphasize a point that they're trying to make, that the actual feelings they have on it might be a little bit sad or something like that. So they change up their emotions in order to fit the people that they're around. So those kinds of things are all lies by definition, in that they are deceiving the other person around them to get a result.
It's not the absolute purest truth,
The paladins around the world are reeing and, into oblivion, like Yukino. But when you realize that everyone else is lying a little bit, it can lead you into this defensive place where you're like, I can't trust anyone now because people are saying things that they don't actually mean. And Hachiman has very much kind of, being the observant one, has had that moment shown to him beyond the I'm observing, or I believe I'm observing people lying, thus I don't trust anyone. And I remember multiple times growing up where my intuition was just going like nuts, because I believed when people were saying things that they were ultimately lying. And it led me into this like really just kind of a breakdown where I was like, I don't think I can trust what anyone is actually saying, because I can see a little bit more obviously at certain times or not when they're intentionally trying to manipulate with their words versus like the kind of things that are more subtle. And then I stopped being able to tell the difference, and that just really fucked with my head. But in this point here, Hachiman is actually being extremely self-aware in a way that I never was when I was growing up, in that he's saying that actually, while all this is happening, the biggest liar of all is me. Oh, that's huge.
Really good stuff.
That's really good stuff. Like, did you ever have that moment where you realized that you were lying for a result that was worth it, basically?
Sure. Yeah.
Like what are some of those like white lies for you?
Well, the biggest ones would be the deceptions, not the lies, right? Because I was very much sort of like a rules stickler, growing up. So I would be like, I won't lie. I'll just do something that I know is portraying incorrect information.
Gotcha.
But I'm not actually saying that,
Right.
And that's what I do.
Right.
Whether it was basically when I would go up to my parents and say one of them had let me have a cookie, and I went up to the other one, instead of saying, can I have another cookie, is because I hadn't asked them yet, just say, can I have a cookie?
Right. You're trying to obfuscate.
Right.
And give,
I didn't need to tell them that I had already had a cookie that day,
Right.
But they didn't need to know that,
Right.
I wasn't telling them that it was my first cookie, but there you go, and that was how, a little 5-year-old me or whatever was like, all right, this is what I will do. Right.
And that's an instance of where I would say that very few people would call that necessarily a lie. That's an omission of information.
Right. But it was very much a willful strategic deception.
Right. And I would say that is the point that most people would say about a lie, is you can't lie without will. It needs to be something that is intentional. Meaning that regardless of how you twist the truth or the facts to suit your own means, the fact that you are willfully trying to deceive someone is, for the most part, the base definition of a lie. But the part that I think that most kids, like Hachiman growing up, have to deal with that is rather rather just cold about the world there and stuff is that it's actually the liars that get the most rewarded. It's the liars that actually are the Hayatos that basically lie to themselves and say that they like the way that everything is going in the status quo and thus want to change it and do everything in their power to manipulate the situation so that they can have that work out. In the moment, he's actually kind of winning the social dynamics there. And Hachiman, who is constantly in some ways just dropping these really painful truths to people at specific times, ends up getting ostracized. Except now he's starting to realize, wait a minute, actually, because he's such a stickler for this type of, this type of influence types of words and stuff like that, he's now has all this influence with these people.
And yet he still does those intentional lies specifically because something's uncomfortable
for him. Yeah.
Not the lie to establish some objective. The saying "I've always loved you."
Yes.
Please go out with me. Right.
Exactly.
Not that kind of stuff, but the other stuff.
And that's the part that's insidious. Is that when you start lying to yourself, you can't trust yourself. Then.
Well. Yes. And then from another point of view, that actually. It is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural, right?
Yes.
Because
definitely.
His whole thing of if I don't know, then I can do things that no one else can, right? That it's the whole thing of is a hypocrite like actually just someone that's trying to change, like in the middle of change. Who knows, right?
Who knows? Yeah, we can't know what he's intending.
Is Hachiman here in the middle of change, or is this just him?
Or change that he's willing.
Well,
like that he's desiring. Because everyone's changing constantly. I think that's one of the great lies is that everyone thinks that they're just staying the same. But everyone molds their environment just naturally.
Right, definitely.
That's one of those things that he hates about himself.
Well,
when he basically succumbs to that.
Yes.
Because his environment is too powerful. Because cute girls and cute boys, oh my God.
But you're right. But then also, the positive side of that, he is changing. And yet he's reluctant. He fights it. Will he win?
Good luck with that. Good luck with that, buddy.
Who knows?
I'll just tell you, environment is always stronger than willpower.
Yeah.
There is no way that Hachiman is going to get away with not changing throughout the show.
But the thing is that he could keep himself from changing in particular ways.
Yes.
Because say with regards to Yui, that's something where it's a very obvious potential change.
Yeah.
Right? And he can definitely force that one to not go that way. That doesn't mean he's not going to change.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Great finishing little episode to this mini arc here.
I
setting
love Hachiman
up the
as a
second
character.
season. Yeah. Reminding us again that Hachiman is a fantastic protagonist for this type of story that they're doing here.
Yeah, totally the kind of protagonist that I would have not have expected. Like not just in this show, but I wouldn't have expected to make for such a good protagonist, but it's I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. And guys, that's it. Thank you so much for watching the episode's reaction and discussion. It was quite a big one. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general. Also, be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
Yes, info is in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.